So as you both know, today is my last day in the Mint Christchurch office. Next week I'm moving up to Auckland to start the new Mint office up there. And something that's been weighing heavily on my mind is that for the first time I'm going to be working in close proximity to my partner every single day. And you guys strike me as an example of a team that work really well together. So I have some questions that I'd like to ask you today to try and extract the secret sauce out of that. So you guys have been working together for 10 years now, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Close to 11.
Yeah. And how long have you guys been together as a couple?
We're just trying to work that out before. 19.
19 years.
Coming up 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there, I mean, you've been in, as we were talking about earlier, some pretty stressful situations along the way, but you're both, have been running a successful and growing business for the last 10 years. From the outside, seem to be doing a pretty good job of it. What's the secret?
I don't know. I think we're really lucky in that we just work so well together. I think one of the things that is really one of the magic parts of our relationship is that everything that I suck at, Shane is really good at, and vice versa. So we really create this kind of whole good business owner sort of thing. What do you think?
I guess there's a few tools that we use, which is, when we're at home, we just if someone doesn't want to talk about work, we just stop. But on the other hand, we like talking about work and we enjoy what we do. So I think that's just, and again, what Ellie said, it's just easy. It's not really something that we're doing. We're just enjoying what we're doing. So I think if we're struggling to do what we're doing, then it wouldn't work so well.
You mentioned in there the fact that you both like talking about work stuff because you enjoy what you do, but that sometimes there needs to be a balance between work life and home life. How do you cope with that balance as a couple and individually?
We don't try too hard. There's times when I think work wins and there's times that home wins, and for the most part it kind of balances itself out. Someone taught us early on that you should delegate everything that you can because there's so much that you can't. So we outsource help for quality childcare and some domestic help and things, and that's really good because it just frees you up to focus on work, which is what we love doing.
The other thing is knowing each other's struggles at work help us out at home a lot, because if we know someone's had a stressful day at work or a big day, then the other person can take over the home life, which is really important, and it means a lot to us as well, but we understand what each other are going through, so it's easy to just sort of let things go or help out a little bit more at home on certain days and that sort of thing. So
we're quite protective of each other. So I'm quite protective of Shane's sleep. So I'll try and make sure that happens when he actually is sleeping because he's low sleep needs. We just sort of know each other's needs fairly well. So we do what we can to make sure that we get what we need. But the other thing is because we know the business so well. If Shane comes home and he's just knackered, I know why, and it's not sort of I'm the spouse at home going, oh, why are you so tired? Or, because I just get it. I get why he's so knackered and I know why he needs to work so hard on a particular project or on a particular day. So, yeah.
And as business owners, I imagine it's kind of high highs, low lows, because you feel everything so intensely. When something goes really well here, you feel it's absolutely fantastic. And when something goes poorly, you feel it more than anyone. Do you feel that your home life is reasonably insulated from that, or does it, because there's that, because you're both so invested in your work and you like doing it and you don't necessarily see it as a bad thing, the having that distinction, or it's okay to have blurred lines. Do you find that one bleeds over into the other? Yeah,
absolutely. I think, it's the same what we talk about well-being at work. People try to hide their feelings and it's you can't. If it's that big of something happening at work, it's going to affect your home life or just yourself, right? So, and I guess that's going back to the previous question around just supporting each other through that. We do talk about it. If we have a real bad day, we sort of debrief and it detoxes the day, which allows you to get on with life and move on, which is really good.
I love our debriefs, by the way. They're my favourite part of the day.
Yeah.
So good.
What do the debriefs typically contain? What's the format for those? It feels like a thread worth pulling.
Yeah, well, I don't know, at least when I have been at home with our little one, I'm like dying for some work talk. So I'm like, what happened? Like, what are we doing? Like, what do we need to hash out tonight? Like, what are we going to figure out? What fire did you put out? You know, what's happening in the business? So yeah, I just love that. I love work talk. And there's nothing like having a common enemy that kind of brings you together. So when the common enemy is something like market forces or, I don't know, just some tiff that's going on in the business, like we really soldier together and we become a very strong united front. So even things like COVID, like we were like, cool, here's a challenge, and we communicated that to the team. We wanted them to know that we work really well under pressure, and when there's a common threat kind of to the business, we are like, no, screw that, we're going to beat it.
And I think the problem solving, like there's no other person you could go home and problem solve a thing that you want to achieve at work, because I don't think most people would allow it. If I gave you calls at like 9 o'clock at night, I don't think too many people would be happy about that. So
yeah,
if there's something that's affecting you at work and bring it home, then you can solve it, and then it sort of makes your home life better as well, which is good.
We've heard a lot about how great it is to work with your spouse when everything's going really well. Is there ever any times where it's a little bit harder than what we've covered so far, and when it's not such a good thing to be working with your spouse?
There's actually nothing. Like it's...
we're so lame.
Yeah, it's...
I think there's plenty of times when like work is hard or being in business is hard, but I think that's when being in business with your spouse it's most valuable to you, because you can figure it out together and you've got that support for each other. I think the one time when it is sometimes annoying for me is, let's say I've got a really crazy workload or a ridiculous deadline or something. I can't just go home and say to my husband, like, this is so stupid, like what I have to deal with, because he's like, yeah, that's kind of my fault. So I can't really just rant, you know, but, well, I still
about
do,
me.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Is there ever any kind of power struggle between you two?
I guess I don't like power. Like, I'm an introvert. So when something has to get presented or something like that, I'm always turning to Ali to do it. It works well that neither of us try to take the forefront, and I'm probably more likely to let people do what they do best, and that's probably where Ali's...
Yeah, I think we both just know the reality of any power comes with responsibility. So if we can palm that off, like we will. You know?
And what happens when there's disagreements? Because while there's no power struggles or there's no competitiveness between you, there's absolutely disagreements on things. Are they things that get fleshed out during your late night problem solving sessions, or tell me more about the disagreements that you guys have?
This is another boring answer. A lot of the time we kind of agree on stuff. So even like the last few recruits that we've made, with Shane and I were just sort of like, we always have the same opinion on people, so why don't you just sit this one out and I'll handle it. Yeah, but when disagreements do come up, and they do, I can think of a couple of times recently when I've just been able to show Shane from a different perspective, and he's come around, or we get an outsider's input, someone that we both trust, if it's something worthwhile doing that.
Given the chance, sometime in the future, would you run another business together? And do you have any plans to run future businesses together?
We do. Mint's going really well at the moment, and our focus is there, and that's kind of something that we're highly focused on at the moment. I guess there will be opportunities in the future. I think if the opportunity ever came and we both were passionate about something, I think we would, but we'd both have to be right in the business together to really do that. Do it well. Otherwise, we just wouldn't give it justice. Like, I think Mint's had the best of both of us because we've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we would, because I think we would be silly to not acknowledge the fact that our working relationship and the chemistry that we have together as business owners is probably our most valuable asset. The way that we work together and the burrowing deep into issues that we can do because we live together and work together is so valuable to us. And yeah, it really is our greatest asset. So I think we potentially would. Like, we sometimes are sitting around at like if we're in a hotel or at a restaurant, we're like, how would we run this, And so yeah, it's definitely part of our makeup as a couple. Yeah, and it's something that we talk about a lot, but for now we just really love Mint, and there's always plenty of challenges around to keep us interested.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for your advice. There's a few nuggets of wisdom that I'll definitely take away in there. I guess the main thing that I took away is that it's worth investing some time into, because if you can get it right, it's an absolute asset for the business. So it's something that I'll be putting a lot of thought into on the ferry next week, because we'll have 3 hours to kill, so we can have an in-depth discussion about it then. Thank you very much.